Alright, what's up? It's Spade Man. I should have muted that. If you can hear it, NASCAR is currently on. But this is the 2019 Daytona 500. Alright, so what happened here was I'm going to do live reactions throughout the whole race here on Sunday evening, just so I can, give you insight on how I'm feeling without having to regurgitate information throughout the rest of the video. So we are currently 21 laps in, and we've been on rain delay for an hour and a half. Great start back, yeah. So to substitute the race, they put on the 2019 500. I've never been more disappointed. And the race was starting out actually pretty decent. We had Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who led the entire race. He has not been overtaken once yet, over 20 laps. I feel that's something to keep an eye on. He took second place, I believe, I didn't fact check that, last year, before I started watching all this, of course. And I feel he shows a lot of promise today. I don't know how long it'll last. We've only been in this race for about 20 laps, so I don't have a lot of insight to share with you right now. I just figured I'd record this now, since we are still on a fucking rain delay. I have a timer going. I will tell you how long it's been on a delay once we get back. I don't even think we'll be able to finish the race today. I think it might be pushed back till tomorrow, and if it is, I'm going to be super fucking sad. Alright, that's all I gotta say for this live segment. Back to Futurecade, where I look a lot better than this. I look like fucking garbage. Alright, I'm back. It is now Tuesday, 2 days after the initial running of the Daytona, and for reasons out of my control, I wasn't able to watch on Monday the live thing, so I just kind of watched a probably illegal stream on YouTube just to get the rest of the results, and holy fuck, a lot has happened. So just to recap what happened on Sunday, or what little did happen on Sunday. For all 20 laps, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. led the whole race. He was in first the whole time, and then the race got rained out and was delayed until yesterday, which was Monday. Now, after the restart, things seemed to actually go pretty decent. We didn't see any other trouble happen until lap 59, when William Byron would spin out. It seemed to be just him affected. I don't think anybody else was with him. If there was, I'll show the clip right now. But from what I see, it was only just him, and I think he did rejoin the race eventually. It didn't look that bad. It was just a minor spin out into to the infield, and I think after turn 2. Then later on, stage 1 would finally end with Chase Elliott taking the win for it, which kind of surprises me. I didn't really think I would see him win a stage, let alone the race. Of course, you'll see later on what does eventually happen with Chase Elliott, but spoilers, he does not win stage 2. Then two people in last place, Quinn Hoff and JJ Yeley, ended up spinning out after what should have been Quinn Hoff being black flagged after the current leader, Eric Almirola, was about to try to pass him. Hoff blocked him, which is a bit of a weird thing to do, and ended up trying to move out of his way, I think, but ended up spinning himself out, as well as taking JJ Yeley along with him. And both of them, I believe, would crash out for the rest of the race. I think Yeley might have returned. I don't know about Hoff. It's just kind of a minor thing, but I thought it was a bit funny enough. Martin Truex Jr. would hit a gas can trying to come out of pit road, and it took him a solid 10 seconds before he was finally able to get the gas can away from his car. Then pretty much stage 2 went very, very clean. Nothing else would happen. Denny Hamlin would take stage 2 for himself, coming from all the way from behind the pack, starting at I think 38th on that whole race, which if it had taken place on Sunday, I don't think it would have happened. I think Hamlin would not have gotten stage 2 if the whole race took place on Sunday, because he was... it just seems like a different course of events if Sunday would have not ended abruptly. Then after the beginning of stage 2, we finally see Ricky Stenhouse Jr. taking the lead again. It's not for long. He does get passed up once again. It was from help from his team and some drafting going on that would eventually let him pass Hamlin, but only leading a couple more laps. I also just want to take this time to point out that Brad Keselowski looks extremely strong throughout this whole night. as well as Joey Logano, who stayed up pretty much at the top of the pack throughout the whole race, as well as Keselowski, who led, I think, about 40-something laps, which is nothing to sneeze at. Brad Keselowski is, I think, one of the best drivers that has not won a Daytona 500 yet. And, yeah, I just wanted to point that out, that he looked extremely good on this whole race. The first caution that wasn't a caution, Ricky Stenhouse spins out. He was able to get into pit road before the caution flag was supposed to be thrown out. However, this crash did not look great for him, and he would not recover. He would not get back in the top 5 or even the top 10 throughout the rest of the night, which is really heartbreaking because Stenhouse was extremely good throughout the night. Leading the first 20 laps of the race completely uninterrupted, I think, is a feat on its own. And standing ovation to Ricky Stenhouse, man. I do wish him better luck next year. I think he definitely should have deserved this one. Then from seemingly out of fucking nowhere, Clint Bowyer comes up from, I think, 23rd all the way up to 5th place. That is kind of impressive. And the commentators were kind of going back and forth on how he typically makes these types of moves where he goes from a place that you never expect would win the race up into a place where he might just pull it off. And I think that was extremely cool to see him just like bouncing from this medium position of the track all the way up to the top 5. I think that was amazing. Another man who also comes with the rise of Clint Bowyer is Ryan Newman, who is someone that I didn't really predict would do this well in this race, honestly. Ryan Newman's been around pretty much as long as Clint Bowyer has, if not longer, and he's also a racer who has not won the Daytona 500, and he would look extremely strong throughout the rest of the night, going so far as to even lead a few laps, which is really fucking awesome. Then with 17 laps to go, we get a gigantic fucking wreck that takes out a lot of drivers. Now, I'm not going to be able to get this all in one take, so I'm just going to lean over here to my notes quick and just read off the people that were involved in this wreck and were taken out of the race or were sent back to a position that basically would not let them win. Let's see here. We got Jimmy Johnson, Kurt Busch, Brad Keselowski, Eric Almirola, Martin Truex Jr., Bubba Wallace. All of them who were extremely good throughout the race fucking crashed. Jimmy Johnson would not return for the race, and this is extremely sad because this is his last Daytona 500 and he would end in a DNF, which is extremely sad. He was one of my favorite drivers of all time, and there he was on the infield, crashed out. Another person who would be taking a DNF throughout the race, who was also leading for a while, was Kyle Busch, who I think off of a nasty-looking bump taken from Denny Hamlin, who was behind him, breaking something within his internals of his car. I can't tell you from the top of my head what busted, but something busted to the point where like he was blowing smoke literally out of his ass, and he had to pit, which unfortunately he would not return from. He was leading the race at the time and was also looking like a good pick to win said race. This major crash could be traced back to Joey Logano, who bumped the back of Eric Almirola. That spun him out and kind of led to this ginormous crash, which was at the front of the pack too, which took out all these high-profile drivers who were doing really good throughout the night. From what I understand, I believe Brad Keselowski, Eric Almirola, and Martin Truex Jr. would return, I think. Don't quote me on it. I'm kind of going based off memory right now. Then after this red flag, Ryan Newman would lead the race with, I think, only 10 laps to go, I believe. And then almost immediately we have another caution with Timmy Hill and the number 27 crashing out. Then after this caution, Newman and Logano lead the race with only six laps to go, not 2. That's a whole nother deal we're going to get to. And both of Hamlin and Newman lead out of the pack. They are, Hamlin is drafting off of Newman, who is also pushing him way ahead of the pack, which could be also dangerous, but you'll see in a little bit why that's not really going to be relevant. And the reason for that, with 2 to go, there's another big Crash. Again, reading off this list that I can't memorize, it is Joey Logano, Ty Dillon, Chastain, Eric Almirola again, Ryan Pierce, and the number 77 as well as the number 8, Tyler Riddick. All of them involved in this crash. Now, from what I can understand, it was the number 77 who crashed into Ryan Chastain that kind of caused this whole ordeal that sent one of the drivers, I believe Almirola, into the wall and causing like this huge backup. And then we're back into the 2-lap after caution. Your leaders are Denny Hamlin, Chris Buescher, Ryan Newman, and Kevin Harvick are all out in front. They've avoided everything so far. Harvick, surprisingly, dodges literally everything and has been playing it kind of conservative throughout the race. He's finally making his push to the front and has ended up in 3rd place, which I think really cool. I like Harvick a lot. And then we're coming around turn 4, and then green flag and caution almost immediately. Now, what seemed to have happened here was that there was a 3-wide coming down the straightaway. It was between Bowyer, Michael McDowell, and the number 16 car. I can't remember his name. I'm too lazy to look it up. But it seemed to be that they were bouncing off each other too much, and when the green flag hit and they were trying to hit the accelerator, one hit the other and then crash out. It only took Bowyer and McDowell. Number 16 was okay. Then we're finally back on the green, and then one lap goes, we are on a green, we are on a green-white checker, and then around turn 4, when it's about to be a white flag, Chase Elliott crashes. Now, this is not a caution. We are already in overtime. Chase Elliott is able to get into pit road before a caution flag is thrown, so although he's not in the race anymore, he was able to salvage everybody's sanity in the stands. There's not another caution on a green-white checker. Unfortunately, this would take him out of the race. And now we are on the last lap. And what I think could have been one of the best underdog victories completely squandered. And by no fault of anybody or no malicious intent off anybody. This involves 3 people. Ryan Newman, Ryan Blaney. Was it Ryan Blaney? Yeah, Ryan Blaney. There's 2 Ryans. Ryan Newman, Ryan Blaney, and Denny Hamlin, who are all coming really extremely strong. Around turn 3, you can see Newman pulling out in front of these 2, with Blaney sort of drafting off him. Now, coming off of turn 4, you can see Hamlin trying to pass from the inside with Newman taking an outside approach. Now, with Blaney sort of drafting off him, it kind of fucked up his momentum, and he ended up taking a lot more of an inside turn than he wanted to, and coming off towards the finish line in a much more outside position that he definitely did not want. And according to Blaney, what he was trying to do was he was trying to do a bump and run off of Newman to try to take the lead, but then immediately saw that Hamlin was coming off very, very strong and was just going to try to push Newman to the finish line so that at least Newman can win. Unfortunately, it did not go this way, and Blaney ended up, when trying to bump him, hit a really awkward angle and sent Newman right into the catch fence that led to a terrifying crash. Newman would be up in the fucking air. He bounced off another car, landed on his hood, and there were sparks everywhere that like passed him across the finish line and into the infield. Now, this was absolutely sickening to watch. It looked like we just lost another driver at Daytona. Denny Hamlin would come off to win the race. Blaney taking 2nd. Chris Buescher taking 3rd. And Ryan Newman, completely on his hood, takes 4th. Which is really sad. I wish Newman could have won this. Hamlin takes his 2nd Daytona win for 2 years in a row, making his 3rd Daytona win. Newman would end up being okay. He was transported to a hospital where he lied in critical condition for... Well, not critical condition. They say that he had a lot of injuries, but it was nothing life-threatening. So at least we have that going for us. But unfortunately, Newman would not win a Daytona 500 this year, and would crash out in a way that I wish just didn't happen. I wish Newman could have won and had his first ever Daytona win in I don't know how long he's been racing. But this was an extremely interesting last half hour of the race with tons of restarts and tons of cautions, and just I think this is the most exciting NASCAR has been in a while. I've never really been this interested in NASCAR for a long time, and to see just all this action and just like this sort of heartbreaking moment where Newman could not win the race and ended up being on his hood was one of it just looked bad. It looked horrible. You'll see the footage that I put in the video. I'm sad. But I do look forward to the next race coming up next weekend that hopefully will not get rain delayed. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Denny Hamlin wins. And I really hope we get to see more leading laps from Ricky Stenhouse Jr., from Chase Elliott, from Brad Keselowski, from Joey Logano, and hopefully, just maybe, Ryan Newman comes back next week. I don't think he will, personally. I wish he would, but I don't think it's in the cards for him right now. But I think it'd be really fucking cool if we get to see a Ryan Newman win. Coming off to win the season, I think we're looking at another Hamlin win. He's just that good. He came off from 38th place to win the damn race. And it's not like he qualified that low. It was just because he didn't pass inspection. And he still won. Like, that's insane. That's the best I've seen a driver in a while. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to next week. This should be an interesting season. What a great start to what seemed to be just another lackluster season. Monday just completely blew things out of the water. I'm sad it had to be delayed, but I'm very happy with the results and just how interesting the race was after it was all said and done. Thank you for watching. This is sort of a new reintroduction to my channel. I want to start doing more racing content, more NASCAR stuff, just more racing stuff to deal with cars. This has kind of been a whole passion thing for me, and I wanted to test it out with the Daytona 500 this year. I wasn't able to do shootouts or duels just because I didn't have time to watch them, and I don't think they're that interesting as the Daytona, so I didn't really want to cover them just because I don't feel they're really much a need to go back and watch them. There were results that you probably could have predicted on those. You can probably guess who would have won, and you'd probably be right. It was nothing interesting. So I'll be trying to do weekly reviews of all these races and such. What else do I have to plug? In the springtime, I'll be working on a car that you all will get to see the progress of. It's a 1974 Chevrolet K10, which I've had for a long time now, just sitting around collecting dust. And I just want to film the renovation of the truck for you guys. So that'll be a new series coming up in the springtime. And then I'll also be doing gameplay stuff with racing content, reviewing new games, reviewing old games, reviewing all that kind of shit. So it's still sort of a gaming channel at the end of the day. And then if you don't like racing shit, I will link my Twitch. I'm trying to stream there more. Problem is, I don't have a proper Streamlabs set up yet, and I don't have a proper camera for it yet. Because the camera that I'm using right now, the one that you're looking at me through, does not connect to my computer. I've tried a lot, don't work. So I need to get a new camera so I can have Facecam on stream and shit. Gameplay stuff will still have Facecam. I'll be using this camera for Facecam. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. Thank you all for watching this. If you made it this far, congratulations. I don't know what to say. Chonka bless.